Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this wonderful world. I hope the world is going the right way for you wherever you are. My name's Graham Moore, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that after I've introduced my very good friend Phoebe Francis in Dubai. Good morning to you, Phoebe. I hope you're
Good,
well.
good morning, Graham, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome back.
You welcome back to you. You've been away from Dubai. You've been in Kerala, haven't you?
Yeah, I have been in Kerala for a few days, and it was nice to have a short break and be back.
Back in Dubai, sorry, back in Dubai, having spent that time with your family, and that family time is really, really important. Absolutely, that is one of the most important priorities that we must work on in our life. So, Phoebe, no, what's in? We've got this little topic that we've touched on or talked about before, and because of the impact of this, I think it's worth talking about again, and we'll come
Yeah,
up with some other facets of it, some other aspects of it. That's a simpler word. And I have seen recently that the cost globally to organizations is a trillion. In fact, it's more than 1 trillion. I think it was 2 point whatever. It's more than a trillion. This is blowing my mind anyway, but it's trillions of dollars because of lack of engagement of staff. Oh my God. I retreat backwards with a big, oh my gosh, at that because it's not hard to fix. And why is it not
Mm.
hard? Well, here it is. I'm a certified master of the Leadership Challenge. The book has been around a long time. The eighth edition is coming out either late this year or early next year. I've worked in many countries. I think it's 23, whatever, it doesn't matter, but lots of countries, lots of cultures. And I know that engagement is not hard to achieve. And I am appalled at this cost to organizations throughout the world. And Phoebe, who, as I've mentioned, is in Dubai, he's a trained facilitator for the Leadership Challenge. And we are both passionate. Is that a good word for this time of the day? Passionate about
yeah,
the leadership. In fact, that word links into the solution I hope we're going to talk about in regard to engagement. So, Phoebe, what are your wise observations on employee engagement?
yeah. We were having a conversation on engagement, and the organization is huge, like almost 9,000 people, and they want to know the pulse of the organization, what the people are experiencing within that. And and what I felt was the conversation, uh, you know, uh, felt like this because engagement is often treated like a free upgrade, you know, like adding Wi-Fi to a hotel lobby and just switch it on, you know. But in reality, engagement is more like maintaining a garden. It needs constant attention. It needs investment and, frankly, patience. And you know, when we have that conversation, yes, people know that, but often it is only checking the what happens in that moment at that point of time, and that has to change. We need
I
not once in a while connection to know what is happening. We need it to happen on a daily basis to know what is happening with it.
Yeah, I love your analogy of the garden. Thank you for introducing that. And like all gardens, we don't just spray water on them once a month and hope that that's enough, do we? We don't just pull out one or two weeds and hope that that's. I've worked in the garden today. That's okay. I've done that. And I've looked on engagement. I said hello to three people today that I haven't spoken to for about 3 months. And said that I hope they're having a good day and they're working hard. I've worked on engagement. No, you haven't. You know how often I say leadership is a relationship. You know that I bang the walls about the relationship importance, and that's not just something that you do when you think about doing it. You do it because it's an automatic, instinctive response.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that the people have reported to me things that I did years ago when I was in the corporate world. And it's not that long. It's not 100 years, but it was quite some years ago. And even then, as a young person, I understood the good things that were getting returns. And by that, I mean the connections that I made with the people who were working with me, the connections, the interest I showed in what they were doing and how they were going. And wasn't just an occasional thing. It happened all the time. And there was one other aspect to this and the work environment in this case that actually was a significantly contributing factor to engagement. Everybody was passionate about what we were doing. And when you introduce passion into the workforce, people want to stay. It's not just waking up in the morning, oh, the alarm's gone off. I got to get up. I'll try and have some breakfast when I'm on the train or whatever. Oh, don't worry about this. I've got to get there because I've got a meeting. It's all a bit drudgery focused, isn't it? I've got to be there
Yeah.
because I'm meeting to go to, or I've got to be there because I've got a report to write and I hate these reports, whatever. When people are passionate about what they're doing, they want to be there. They have another element which also starts with P, and this is purpose. I'm sure you've heard this. This expression has been around a long time, and that is find a job that you love doing, and you'll never work a day in your life. Well,
Mm.
you just get paid to turn up. But it's not work, it's your passion. You love what you're doing and you are passionate about it. Your life and your work has purpose. So, what's
Yeah.
purpose? Purpose is the meaning of what we're doing. And there are certain occupations that I say, you haven't got to question their purpose. And I think that applies to the medical profession and to nurses. And recently, for reasons that I'd rather not go into, I've had a little bit more to do with hospitals and nurses and so on. And I made a comment to one, I think another one as well, after observing what they were doing professionally. I said, you
Mm.
didn't choose nursing, did you? Nursing chose you. And certainly one of them agreed that was what they do because they love it, because they have
Mm.
a purpose in helping people, purpose in healing people. And I think that the same applies to paramedics. It would apply to surgeons and a whole range of other medical staff. Some of the work is tedious and repetitive, absolutely. But at the bottom line for people in healthcare, they are there to help fellow human beings. And that's part of their purpose. The hours might be long, but it's related to their purpose and why they're doing it. Now, it doesn't mean that their senior people shouldn't help foster that feeling that they have to help work on their purpose. Can you work on someone's purpose? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So, cut me off, Phoebe. You add your wise words of wisdom now.
I think I will just also help. You connected people, passion, purpose as a continuum, and this is something which sometimes organizations and people in positions of authority in those are aware of, but sometimes they don't see the cost of engagement. What is the cost of missing engagement in the workplace? And this is what I just want to also add, and to frame it this way, that is, um, imagining leadership as tending a fire. You can't just light it once and walk away. You have to keep feeding it attention, trust, communication. And if you don't, the fire doesn't just go out quietly, it turns into smoke. And this this smoke is like the confusion which happens. It is the disengagement which happens. It is the silent withdrawal the people experience in the process. And that can be connected with Graham, as you mentioned, the cost. It can be hundreds of thousands. It can be a million. It can be a billion, and it can be a trillion. So it's small acts, but it creates the important aspect is the disengagement, and it can also lead to that silent withdrawal.
Yeah, I think we should do a survey about engagement. I think once a year, maybe we'll get a survey sent out to the staff and see if they respond. And then we can say, well, we did it, but you didn't respond, or don't think we're not interested because we'll do it. We might do it in 3 years' time again. I don't know. What? This is something where you should be really aware of the climate of the organisation, or call it the temperature if you like. I don't mind. The metaphor is there. What are we going? What are we looking at in terms of how people are feeling about their job? And I want everybody. It's not always going to happen, I know, but I want people to love what they are doing, and when they have that, they have commitment to what they're doing. They want to be there. They want to be producing at their best. They want to be recognised for what they are doing. By the way, who does all of this? Who puts this in place? The leader. The leader certainly recognises the good things that they've done on a regular basis. So people say, I know that when I've done something really well, it is recognised by my manager or the department head or the general manager or the CEO of the global organization. It's recognised. And I go, wow, I'm pleased that I've been recognised for what I've done. And I get real satisfaction out of it, being offered the opportunity to do something which is beyond my immediate capabilities. But that doesn't mean that just because I'm a ground handler at the airport waving the traffic in, that I'm going to get the opportunity to fly the aircraft. But what I'm talking about, of course, is the third practice, the fourth practice in leadership challenge, and that is enable others to act. So that if I'm working in an environment that I love working in, and my manager gives me opportunities to extend my range of work, not to overwhelm me, but to give me opportunities to do things that require a little bit more learning, if you like, people will be engaged in doing that. 96% of people in the surveys that have been done through the Leadership Challenge, 96% of people say they perform at their best when they're challenged. Why wouldn't you do it? 98% of people say they perform at their best when they're recognised. Why wouldn't you do it? Two of the simplest ways to get the best results from people ain't hard to do. And they go, whoa, I love this. I get my boss every day. He says, oh, you've done a great job. And he's genuine about it, genuinely recognising what I've done. And I know that he'll do the same for other team members. It's just the culture, it's just the atmosphere, the environment that we are in is so supportive. And what's that? How is this then going to improve the $1+ trillion? It means that people will be more productive because they love what they're doing. They're passionate about what they're doing. They don't want to leave the organisation because they are in a situation that they love being there. They are recognised for what they're doing. They are making a real contribution, passionate about what they're doing. I'm saying these a lot fairly quickly, but it's not hard to do this. This is why it frustrates me that there's $1 trillion. I tell you what, we will solve this problem for what percentage? What do you reckon? 20%? 20% for you. We'll split it down the middle, Phoebe, and we'll charge them 20% to save $1 trillion. How about that? And we'll 20% of $1 trillion. Ha ha. But what I'm concerned about, and I'm going to slow down in a minute, is that there are senior members of an organisation who it's almost a blindness that they have, that they don't recognise what the situation is, and they think it's not solvable. Well, it is. It is solvable. We can make a difference. You and I can make a difference with the Leadership Challenge, particularly in helping people love what they are doing and develop a passion for what they're doing. Yeah, but it's some of the most boring work, Graham. I've got to do it and I hate it. I'm going to help you find your passion, by the way. I'm going to help you find something about what it is that you're doing. You get real value out of it. And if I am your leader working with you, I am going to give you opportunities to do the work that you particularly love doing. Can't do it every day, but there are opportunities, and I'll say, yep, we're going to give you that because you love doing it. Yeah, I want more of that. Okay, good. Phoebe, let me take a breath. Share your
No,
view.
I just want to connect one more aspect. People need to feel seen, and that is relational. And quite often in workplace, uh, you know, it can be the immediate manager or the person in charge. And if the people in the team get that opportunity to have that uh, conversation, or their voices being heard, they feel that they are experiencing being seen, their presence is acknowledged. And second is, as you mentioned, purpose, which gives meaning, and that is directional. And that is where some many times I insist, you know, developing the leadership capability of the line managers, especially in the point that leadership is a relationship. And, when you can have that relationship, they will be in a better of position to be more directional in that conversations which they have with their team members. And the third aspect, the passion fuels energy, and that is emotional, and emotions are data. And quite often this emotion is what leads to higher engagement. And if any one of these is missing, engagement drops.
I think what's often, as you're saying this, and we talked about this earlier, I think one of the things that's often missing, and I'll explain what it is and how and why it's missing, and that is what we mentioned before, conversations.
Yeah.
Now, what happens when when leaders have conversations with their team members? They learn. They learn about the team member. Now, the conversation is not just that leader doing all the talking. No, not at all. It's the other way around. It's the manager having a conversation with one of his team members. Maybe he does this, he rotates around the 10 team members that he has, or the 23 team members, whatever. And he might not be able to do this every week, but should find a time and just sit quietly with one at a time. One on one is pretty good. And then he might have a groups and they talk and they get to know each other. They get to know their issues. They get to know what they are passionate about and how to find purpose in what they're doing. And many managers, in fact, the last survey that I just made up is 78% of all managers, I just made that up, um, will say, I can't do that. I haven't got time to sit and have a conversation with my people, with the people in my team. I've got work to do. That's a big thing. You've got work to do. Yes, you'll do it, and you'll miss the main purpose. You'll miss the relationship of talking one on one to your team members, getting to know them, asking them, what do you love about your job? Love? I don't love it. Okay, why not? What can we do to make a change? Managers will find excuses for not doing this. The big one being, I haven't got time to talk to my people. Oh, they just got to get on with their job and make sure they finish on time. And what? But when a leader has a conversation and gets to know the person and says, so what is it about this job you don't like? Or what do you do? What are the barriers that you have in every day? What are the concerns that you have? And talks about this in a positive way. And when he shows the people that are in the team that he cares about them, and he will have a conversation with him. Conversation, this is a dialogue, which means two people involved, not a monologue, right? This is not where the manager does all the talking. Yes, I had a meeting with Barry today, and he now knows what I expect of him. Yeah, because you did all the talking. Huh. You think he's going to be engaged when you don't? No, he's not. Oh, I've done all the talking, Phoebe. Now you do the talking. Come on.
Yeah, this is connecting me to the Leadership Challenge by Jim Kazuz and Barry Posner. And in that research-based book, The Leadership Challenge, Jim and Barry talk about the 5 practices of exemplary leadership. And, we know that they are modeling the way, inspiring a shared vision, challenging the process, enabling others to act, and encourage the heart. Now, here is the interesting part. Each of these practices has a cost attached. And I just want to link it, each one, how it impact, especially with people in leadership roles. One is modeling the way. And what is the cost? The cost is consistency. You don't get to switch off your values, in that space. You display, you practice the values. Second is inspiring the shared vision. And here, the cost is clarity and communication. You repeat yourself more than you think. And the third one, challenging the process. The cost is risk. Not everyone will agree with you, and you may have to reinvent yourself in the process. Fourth one, enabling others to act. And here, the cost is letting go of control. And I just want to give an example which happened in my. So recently, when I traveled back to Kerala, I had to travel to Abu Dhabi, and I have to catch a bus from Dubai to Abu Dhabi airport. And my son, who just recently got the license, so I asked him, "Can you drop me?" So this was an opportunity of letting go of control of the driving seat, which usually I do. And, I, in the process, he drove the car, dropped me in the location, came back. And it was like letting go of the control, and it enabled him to act. So he slowly started experiencing driving in the Dubai roads. So enabling others to act. And the fifth one, encouraging the heart. This also have an element. He feels that, okay, I'm driving dad to the bus station. So the cost is the emotional presence, and you have to genuinely care in that one. So, you feel being encouraging the heart of the other in the process. So in a workplace context, giving your subordinate responsibilities, like letting go of control. But when people get additional responsibility, that also encourage their heart. So, leadership, especially in this context, connecting to engagement, isn't just about capability. It is about willingness to pay these costs, which we may feel sometimes not to practice, but we have to practice.
Yeah. Now let me look at this. Let me look at the costs through an accountant's lens, which isn't easy for me because I'm not an accountant. But let's just say, when I say, if I'm a board member and I say, why is the revenue down, or why is the profits down? The accountants will give me a list of cost increases that have occurred. It's the cost of petroleum because there's been a war in the Middle East and the cost of fuel's gone up. That's impacting on our operations every day. Oh, really? Yeah, and our customers' prices have gone up because of this and what? Oh, really? And they haven't got much money to spend on us. And what else is happening? Well, the energy costs are going up. That's another big one. We've got, and the rent has just been increased. What am I talking about? I'm talking about some realistic, sometimes cost impact. But the accountant is not easily able to record the savings and the increase in revenue and profits because someone is passionate about what they do. So the item on a spreadsheet in the account and the P&L and so doesn't have a section which says engagement. It doesn't have a section which says a profit and purpose. Doesn't have that. It just has costs this, cost that. This has gone up. This has gone up. Well, throw that out for a moment and look at the people who are providing the success for the organization, the people who are spending their time. It's their job. That's what they've got to do. Yeah, right. Of course, it's their job. But when they do it better because they are passionate about what they're doing, because they have purpose in coming to work every day, not just to get the paycheck every month, but to do something which provides satisfaction for them. What do you mean satisfaction? The only satisfaction is the increase in profit. Well, this will increase your profit. I'm getting passionate. When we have people who come to work because they want to do what they love doing. And I mentioned the healthcare professionals. There are other organizations, companies, and workplaces. I'm not trying to just nail it down to healthcare. Of course, there are others where people want to be there. And I've had people say to me, I'm never going to leave this company while ever this person is my manager because I love what I'm doing. I get genuine satisfaction in what I'm doing. And that's all I need. I don't go home and worry all night about the report that I've got to write the next morning. Otherwise, I'll be in trouble. Of course, they're important. I'm not saying that reports aren't necessary, but when someone loves what they're doing, when they have an understanding of the purpose and what they're getting out of it, they don't want to leave. And we know that
Mm.
when someone leaves because they're attracted to a higher salary, and after 6 months, they knock on the door of the HR manager with the company they were with and say, I want to come back. I'll come back at the lowest salary even. I want to come back because I want to work
Mm.
in. Yes, I was getting more money, but the headaches were greater. The pressure on me was greater, and I was performing less. So we could solve this billion, no, trillion. I said, but it's trillion dollars. We could save it, couldn't we? As long as we get 20%.
Yeah, yeah. And as you mentioned, with regard to passion, that is the hardest because you can't mandate it. You can only ignite it within the people.
Great point. You can't mandate it. And it's not something that's going to be in your position descriptions saying the point number 9, and you are required to have passion for your work. Doesn't say that. Number 8 in the position description. You must have passion. Well, okay, where do I get
Yeah, I just want to add the metaphor of like an orchestra. Think of organization as an orchestra, and the leader is in the loudest instrument. They are the conductor in that space. And yes, each musician, each employee needs to understand their role, that is the purpose, feel valued as people, and bring the energy to the performance, that is the passion.
And you're full of metaphors today, Phoebe. My gosh, the things you learn when you go to Kerala. So yeah, I've used this analogy before about the conductor of the orchestra. Who is he looking at? He's not looking at the audience, is he? He's not looking at the audience. He's
No.
looking at the people that are delivering the product, that is the music. He's guiding, gently lifting. No, just guiding and helping. He's not playing third trombone. He is guiding and lifting, and they go, whoa, yes. That's what a conductor does. That's what a leader does. So it's a great analogy for leadership. He's not coming down to the fourth violin and saying, no, hold it this way. Right? That's what you've got to do, and do it quickly. No, he's not doing that. He's able to bring out the very best in his performers, and some of them only have a small part to play in the overall piece. A small part. What about the man who's got one stroke on the timpani maybe once in the piece, and it's critically important that he gets the timing right and the volume. Dong, and he can say, as he's going home in the bus that night, or however he goes home, he can say, yes, I made a difference in my performance tonight. Well done. There's nothing wrong. I'm not denigrating or putting him down. He might love what he's doing and say, it is so important that that last little piece is there on the musical performance. And I do it and I get it right every time. And I love my job. Great.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the conductor, they don't play the music themselves, they create the conditions. Conditions for
They're looking.
others to perform.
They've got their back to the audience
Yeah,
until the end.
yeah.
They're looking at their people, they're guiding them and lifting them. That's what leadership's all about. Phoebe, I think our time is almost up. I'm not watching the clock too much today. I've been engaged. Huh. That's what happens when you are engaged. You don't look at the clock. You don't say, "Oh, well, I've only got 3.5 minutes work left to do, and then I'm running out the door." No, you you are engaged. Phoebe, thank you very much. This has been a pleasure. I hope. I hope for the people who are listening are excited about help
Yeah,
achieve.
always, Graham. And, uh, from engagement as an outcome to engagement as a daily practice.
And I've got purpose in life. My purpose is to get 20% of that $1 trillion. um, not going to happen. But we can help organizations make a big difference and improve their bottom line, improve their profits, and improve their overall performance of everybody. Phoebe, thank you so much. Have a great week ahead now that you're back in Dubai.
And to our audience, thanks for being with us. So please subscribe. Always give your comments, thoughts, and if you need support in developing leadership and people capability in your organizations, reach out to us. We are happy to support from whichever location you are in. Thank you.
Thank you very much.